The night Amira arrived in Seoul, the wind carried the scent of rain and regret. She stood on the street, umbrella trembling in her hand, staring up at the skyscraper that bore the name she had sworn to destroy, Lee Corporation. It had taken years to get here. Years of burying her pain under smiles, of turning her grief into fuel. Her father's death had been labeled an accident, but Amira knew better. Somewhere behind those mirrored windows was the man who took everything from her. By morning, she would start her first day as a translator at the Lee Empire. By night, she would start digging for the truth. When the elevator doors slid open on the top floor, the air felt colder, heavier, like stepping into another world. The hum of power vibrated through the walls. Behind a desk of glass and steel sat Lee Jae-min, the only son of the Lee dynasty. Tall. Composed. A sharp jawline that cut through the dim light like a blade. His dark eyes rose from the documents before him, and for a moment, they froze on her. "First day?" he asked flatly. "Yes," she replied, her voice steady even though her heart wasn't. "Don't be late again." No warmth. No curiosity. Just command. But as she turned to leave, his gaze lingered a second too long, curious, cautious. The kind of look that said he didn't trust easily, and perhaps never would. That night, as thunder rolled over the city, Amira lay awake in her small apartment. She could still feel the weight of his stare. He didn't know it yet, but he was part of the story she came to finish. Jae-min Lee didn't believe in coincidences. Every person who entered his world had a reason. An agenda. A price. But the new translator was different. She carried herself with quiet confidence, and her Korean was too perfect for a foreigner. Her eyes, dark, observant, missed nothing. From his office window, he watched her speak to another employee, her expression calm and polite. But beneath that mask, something else flickered. Pain. Anger. Loss. He knew that look. He'd seen it in the mirror. His father, Chairman Lee, didn't notice her. He rarely noticed anyone who wasn't worth millions. But Jae-min couldn't ignore her presence, not when every instinct told him she was hiding something. That night, he found himself staring out at the city skyline from his penthouse, a world of glass and silence. The lights below blurred like ghosts, and his reflection stared back at him, unreadable. He didn't know why, but for the first time in years, someone had managed to get under his skin. Her name was Amira. And she would be his undoing. Days passed, and the walls of the Lee building began to close in on her. Amira followed orders, smiled when required, and worked twice as hard as anyone else, but every night, when the lights dimmed, she stayed behind, searching. Old files. Hidden reports. Anything connected to her father's death. Most of it had been erased. But one name kept appearing again and again. Lee Jae-min. That night, the fluorescent light above the archive room flickered as she sifted through folders. Then, footsteps. Slow. Controlled. Dangerous. The door opened, and there he was, framed in the doorway, suit immaculate, jaw sharp, eyes narrowed. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "I was finishing work," she lied, her pulse hammering. "It's midnight." He stepped closer, voice low. "Or maybe you're looking for something else." Amira forced a calm smile. "I don't know what you mean." Jae-min's gaze held hers, intense and unyielding. "Everyone here wants something. I'll find out what yours is." The air between them thickened, charged with tension neither of them wanted to name. When he finally turned and left, the silence he left behind was louder than the storm outside. Jae-min couldn't get her out of his mind. He told himself it was suspicion, not curiosity, but even he didn't believe that. Through the glass walls of his office, he watched her move through the day like a whisper, calm, composed, untouchable. His father wanted her gone. Called her unnecessary. But Jae-min refused. There was something about the way she held her pain, quiet but unbreakable. Something that made him wonder what she had endured before stepping into his world. That evening, he found her alone again, this time in the copy room. The flickering light cast shadows over her face. "You don't trust anyone here," he said. Amira didn't turn. "Should I?" "No," he admitted after a pause. "Not even me." Her eyes met his, steady and fearless. "I don't." For a moment, the distance between them vanished. Two people built from the same ruin, standing too close to danger. When she walked out, he stayed behind, still feeling the echo of her defiance. She was a problem. A beautiful one. The days blurred into routine. Work. Secrets. Silence. But beneath the polished floors and designer suits, something dark pulsed between them. Every time she looked up, he was there, watching, studying. Then, one evening, Amira returned to her desk to find an unmarked envelope. Inside was a single photograph. Her father. He stood beside another man whose face was blurred, but the logo on the wall behind them was unmistakable, Lee Corporation. Amira's heart stopped. Someone knew her secret. Someone was watching her. She left the building quickly, the sound of her heels echoing down the empty hallway. Outside, the night air was cold, the streets almost deserted. A black car followed her from a distance. Her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Go home, Amira. This isn't your fight." Her breath hitched as she stared into the dark windshield of the car before it sped away. It was too late to turn back. The truth was close, and so was danger. Jae-min already knew she had been followed. He had ordered it himself, not out of cruelty, but out of need. He needed to know what she was hiding before his father found out first. The reports came in, late-night searches, deleted files, unexplained calls. The evidence was there. And yet, he couldn't bring himself to turn her in. When she entered his office that night, her expression was unreadable. But her eyes, those eyes were fire. "You wanted to see me?" she asked. Jae-min leaned back in his chair. "You're going to tell me the truth." "About what?" "The one you keep behind your eyes," he said quietly. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, with quiet defiance, she said, "If you think I'm afraid of you, you're wrong." "No," he replied. "You're afraid of what happens when I find out who you really are." Their silence crackled like static. The city lights flickered outside, painting both their faces in gold and shadow. Then his phone buzzed. A message from his father. "She knows." When he looked up, she was gone, leaving only the faint scent of rain and the ghost of a truth that could destroy them both. The days after the confrontation were silent. Amira went about her tasks with mechanical precision, while Jae-min barely acknowledged her presence. His words, once sharp and cold, turned into an eerie quiet that filled every corner of the office. She thought it was over. That he would fire her. Instead, he kept her, almost as if he wanted her close enough to watch. She often caught his reflection in the glass when she worked late, his gaze fixed on her, unreadable. Sometimes she felt it wasn't hatred anymore. Sometimes it felt like fear. But Amira had her own reasons for staying. She had found a document, a single name, linking her father's disappearance to Lee Corporation. That night, Jae-min stood by the window again, watching the city flicker beneath him. His jaw tightened as a single thought clawed its way through him. She's digging too deep. But he couldn't stop her. Not yet. Rain poured heavily that night, echoing through the almost empty building. Amira moved quietly through the corridors, her footsteps soft against the marble floor. She knew he'd be in the top-floor office, the one she was never allowed to enter. She had to see what he was hiding. The door wasn't locked. Inside, the walls were lined with monitors, photographs, and surveillance feeds. In the center, her father's name, red-marked, circled twice. Her chest tightened. "What are you doing here?" The voice behind her froze her in place. She turned slowly. Jae-min stood there, suit damp from the rain, jawline hard and sharp under the fluorescent light. His eyes burned with betrayal. "Looking for the truth," she said softly. He walked closer until the distance between them disappeared. "The truth can kill you, Amira. Then let it." The silence that followed was thunderous. After that night, she was no longer an employee, she was an obsession. He kept her close, questioned her, tested her loyalty, but never let her go. Every time she spoke, he found himself listening. Every time she looked away, he felt the ache of something he couldn't name. They began to share late nights, silent ones, him working, her pretending not to watch him. Sometimes their eyes met in the reflection of glass, and something fragile stirred between the tension. But his world was not one that allowed warmth. And when a hidden file appeared, an old photograph of her father and his own, everything cracked open again. Amira realized she had fallen in love with the man responsible for her father's ruin. And Jae-min realized he had fallen for the woman who could destroy him. It was almost midnight when Amira found him outside her apartment. He didn't say a word, just handed her a folder, his expression hollow. "Read it," he said. Inside were documents, bank statements, records of a betrayal that stretched back decades, not her father's crime, but his innocence. He was framed by Jae-min's father. Tears burned Amira's eyes as the truth sank in. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because I can't keep lying," he said quietly. He left before she could answer, but that night neither of them slept. He had broken the rules of his own bloodline, and that meant someone would come for him. The following days were chaos. Rumors spread through the company, whispers of internal betrayal. Jae-min became colder than ever. He ordered her to stay away, forbade her from asking questions. His men followed her. But one evening, she went to see him anyway. He was in his office, staring out at the rain. "You can't protect me by pretending not to care," she said. For a long time, he didn't respond. Then, softly, "If I let you stay, they'll kill you too." Amira's voice broke. "Then let them." He turned sharply, and for the first time, she saw something break behind his eyes. The man who ruled with fear looked afraid. That night, she found him on the rooftop of the Lee Tower. The wind howled, carrying rain and smoke. He stood there, gun in hand, jawline sharp under the lightning, his world collapsing beneath him. "They know everything," he said. "They're coming for me." Amira stepped forward. "Then run." He looked at her for a long time, the first and last time he let her see everything he had hidden, pain, love, guilt. "If I run, I lose everything. If you stay, you lose me." For a moment, neither moved. Then he kissed her, rough, desperate, final. When she opened her eyes, he was gone. Only the sound of sirens and the faint smell of rain remained. The morning after the rooftop kiss, Seoul felt different, heavy, waiting. Inside Lee Corporation, whispers followed Jae-min and Amira like ghosts. She hoped the files he'd shown her would expose the lies that killed her father, but truth only opened deeper wounds. That afternoon, a black car paused outside her apartment. An envelope slid beneath the door. "Stop or Tari dies." Her heart stopped. Her brother was her last family. At work she could barely breathe. Jae-min saw the fear in her eyes before she spoke. "They've taken him," she said, handing him the note. His jaw hardened. "Then we end this," he replied. Beneath the corporate tower, Jae-min gathered his men in a dim command room lined with screens and weapons. They would find the broker who ordered the threat. Amira stood behind him, part of his war now. "If this fails," he warned quietly, "blood will pay for blood." She nodded, her voice steady. "Then let's spill the right blood." That night they moved toward the docks, silent cars, black coats, faces masked by rain. The air at the docks was thick with oil and danger. Jae-min's convoy crept forward. The broker appeared, small, nervous, flanked by guards. Before words could pass, a gunshot cracked. Chaos exploded. Amira ran, chasing the broker through a maze of crates. Shots ricocheted, screams echoed. Then she saw it, a flash from above. A sniper. The bullet struck one of Jae-min's men, clean through the head. Jae-min's curse cut the night. Someone had betrayed them. He grabbed Amira's arm and pulled her into cover as another volley split the air. They escaped barely alive. By dawn, Tari's safe house had been burned to the ground. A phone call. Static, then a whisper, "We have your brother." Amira's world tilted. Jae-min slammed his fist against the table. "Then we take them all," he growled. They traced Tari to an abandoned warehouse. The rescue came like a storm, guns, smoke, shouting. Amira found her brother tied to a chair. She tore at the ropes, tears and soot mixing on her skin. Then a grenade rolled across the floor. Jae-min lunged, covering them both. The explosion ripped through everything. Silence. Dust. Amira's ears rang. Jae-min lay on the ground, bleeding, unmoving. She crawled to him, shaking. "You could have run," she whispered. He tried to smile. "I couldn't." He was rushed to surgery, machines, flashing lights, sirens. Amira watched from behind glass, praying to gods she didn't believe in. Hours later, a doctor emerged. "He's alive. For now." She pressed her forehead to the window of the ICU. Jae-min lay pale beneath the white light. He looked nothing like the cold air she'd met months ago. For the first time, Amira let herself admit the truth: she loved him. And love, in their world, was a loaded gun. When Jae-min awoke, vengeance returned to his eyes. His lieutenant Sung had sold them out, trading information for power. They caught him easily. Betrayal always leaves footprints. Sung confessed under the dim light, revealing names, ledgers, and the truth behind Amira's father's death. The rot ran deep, even to Chairman Lee. Jae-min's hands shook as he realized his own bloodline had ordered the killings. Amira's grief became something colder than hate. Together they planned to expose the chairman. Evidence, leaks, journalists. It would destroy the empire from within. At a glittering company gala, the trap was sprung. Accusations burst like fireworks. Cameras flashed. The chairman's mask cracked before the entire city. In the chaos, a bullet hissed past Jae-min's head. The war was now public. There would be no retreat. The empire crumbled in weeks. Accounts frozen. Allies arrested. The news showed Chairman Lee in cuffs. But Jae-min stared at the screen hollow-eyed. "I thought I could fix it," he murmured. Amira placed a hand on his shoulder. "You did. You paid in blood." He didn't answer. He only stared at the rain. Before dawn, the old guard struck back. A hit team stormed their safe house. Gunfire shredded the silence. Jae-min fought like a man unafraid to die. He confronted his father amid the chaos, father and son locked in fury. A grenade rolled between them. The explosion threw Amira against a wall. When she crawled toward him, Jae-min was trapped under steel beams, blood pooling fast. He looked at her one last time. "Live," he whispered. Then the light in his eyes went out. Reporters called it the Lee collapse. The chairman faced trial. Jae-min was hailed as a fallen heir turned whistleblower. Amira felt none of it. She sat alone with the notebook of names and a single photograph, Jae-min smiling, rare and soft. People said she'd won. But victory felt like ruin. Months later, she climbed to the same rooftop where he had first kissed her. Rain blurred the skyline. A new envelope waited on the ledge. Inside, one line in cold ink. Somebody is still listening. She folded it, tucked it into her coat, and stared into the night. The war was over. But the story was not. Amira turned and walked away as thunder rolled behind her.